Well, it is the Corralcast. I am Corral. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to my planet-based life. That's what I think I'm going to change the name of the show to, my planet-based life. Because I think we should all be living those planet-based lives. All right. An incident on a train, and more importantly, what happened around this incident, speaks volumes for America these days. In fact, it's like one of those little spheres that you buy, and it's a completely enclosed ecosystem, and it's supposed to show you how Earth works. That train is how Earth works these days. We're going to talk about that headline up behind me. Also, we're going to talk about the status of being overwhelmed. It's come up 4 times in 2 days with 4 different friends in my life, so there seems to be a lot of it. And the pandemic 20 pounds, what to do about them, as well as a pig and his kidney. More importantly, a pig and your kidney. We're going to talk about that. And I do want to say that I will be changing the name. The Corralcast is great, but I really want the name of the show to be about the focus now. And the focus really is planet-based living. Living in harmony with the planet. And that means almost every topic is still available. Because how we interact with each other is part of living on the planet. Coexistence with each other. And finding ways to coexist peacefully and prosperously. That's how you survive as a species on a planet. So doing a show about planet-based living, that's all of it. Planet-based politics. It's all about getting by on planet Earth. I even bought Earth-based living today. So the story behind me you've heard. 2 people in the park commented to me this morning on this story. Did you hear the story about the woman who was raped on a train? And everybody on the train lifted up their phones and videotaped it, and not one person called 911. And it says so right here. Angry and disgusted, train riders held up phones, didn't call 911 as woman was raped on Philadelphia train, police say. That, is America. Now, first of all, I know that each and every one of you listening and watching says, I would have stepped in. You don't know that. Stop acting like you know what you're going to do in a situation before you get to it. There are many times you think you know what you would do. No, there is no way in hell I would most definitely do this. And yet, you may not. Now, I will tell you, I would have called 911, and if I thought it was rape, I would have stepped in. But I'm the guy that gets killed. And that's the truth. You know that about me. You know that I'm the person that confronts people doing bad behavior. And this is America right now. We are still debating about whether to arrest Steve Bannon for contempt of Congress. I'm glad it takes 3 votes of hundreds of people to simply arrest someone for not complying with a subpoena, when if it were you or I not complying with a subpoena from a court, it would take one person, the judge, telling 2 cops to come get our asses, and there wouldn't be 3 So the notion that there's fairness going on here is ridiculous. Okay? Because nowadays, and this has been a theme on my show, honey, we reward bad behavior, we don't punish bad behavior, and we certainly don't confront it. Case in point, in the Bay Area. What does Walmart have to do with rape? Well, I'm going to tell you. I don't have the ability to change this background constantly with the Walmart headline, unless I cut and paste into it, and I'm not doing that. But here's the deal. Not Walmart, sorry, Walgreens. Walgreens in the Bay Area has decided to close 3 locations because of burglaries. And this goes back to, if I saw someone right here at this Walgreens walk in and steal, and I said out loud, he's stealing from you, this person right here, they're stealing. I swear to God I did. They walked right out the door of the merchandise. No one stopped him, and the cashier said, we're not allowed to stop him. See what I'm saying? Back in the day when you robbed from a store, you either got shot or chased or arrested, held until the police came, and then you were taken to jail because shoplifting was an actual crime. Not now. They let you walk out if you're shoplifting in most places. Even if they know, they let you walk out. Unless there is, and oftentimes, even if there's a hired security guard, that person is not going to confront you because, A, the company could be liable if there's an altercation and blah, 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 blah. In other words, bad people not that all thieves are bad, by the way. If you're stealing from a grocery store, that's one thing. If you're stealing from Walgreens, I don't think you're stealing diapers and formula. So you're probably just a thief. And if you're just a thief, you're just stealing for profit, well, you should be on Wall Street then, actually. That's what you should be in high finance. You shouldn't be over at Walgreens. But at Walgreens, they closed because these thieves are allowed to be thieves. So it's easier to close the stores and deprive people in those neighborhoods of those stores than it is to confront the thieves and stop them. Heaven forbid we should just stop the thievery. No, just close the stores. Heaven forbid we should stop the rape while it's happening. Nah, just film it, YouTube it, live stream it, Facebook it, tweet it. I'm sure it went out on social media. The worst day of this woman's life. And what did other people do? Observe and tweet. Because that's who we are. We don't reprimand bad behavior. We record it and tweet about it. We don't stop it. We record it. Like that's stopping it somehow. Yes, it's great that they have taped acts of violence by the police against bystanders. I've still always wondered why no one stepped in. Well, you didn't know the situation. You didn't know those cops would have done. Whatever. How can you stand on one side of a camera and watch something atrocious happening on the other side and not get involved? I've had to do that a few times as a journalist. You're covering a story. You can't jump in. There's already people there. You can't, Sometimes covering a story, you see terrible things. Someone washed away in a river. I've seen people washed away in a flood control before, and they didn't live. So I saw their last moments on planet Earth. I mean, I've seen a lot of things like that in being in media. But most people haven't. And I certainly wouldn't record a rape and not have the decency to at least call 911 and then yell out, hey, I've called 911. The police have been notified. They're on the way. If you can't go over and you're afraid physically, okay. Well, at least say, hey, I've called the police. They're on the way. You should leave her alone, whatever. But no, you stand there and you videotape it. You live stream it. You broadcast it. You do something for you. You boost your followers. You boost your content. Oh, look, a rape. This will be great content. Let me videotape it. That's where we are. Now, I like to be positive and uplifting, and I think planet-based living has to be about that. There's nothing positive or uplifting here because this is a microcosm of who we are as a nation and I think as a world right now. I think, watching the climate get destroyed every day, that's rape. It's not equivalent to this rape, this woman and her pain, but it's still raping of the planet. And we watch the planet get raped every day by business, by us, by a lot of things. And we videotape it, we talk about it, we make movies about it. And as Queen Elizabeth says, a lot of talk and not a lot of do. We wish her well, by the way. She's canceled some trips because of health. She's 95. We must think what kind of world we're leaving, her and Betty White and Mick Jagger. Anyway, so we have got to somehow change this. We've got to somehow change how we respond to bad behavior. And I don't know where that begins. It begins with you and I. I know I get weary of having to confront bad behavior all the time. It's not even worth it these days because I was just asked by Steve, do you think we were always this stupid? And I said, no, I don't think we were always this stupid. I said, I think we were more stupid. And I think that we've underestimated the amount of stupid. And now that we can hear from stupid, we see how much of it there is. Back in the day, you didn't hear from stupid. Newspapers didn't cover it. TV didn't cover it. Radio didn't cover it. Before mass media, you only had to deal with the stupid in your own town. Or the surrounding areas, or maybe the governor or whatever. But it wasn't like today where everybody had a voice. The democratization of the internet and giving everybody a voice means there's a lot of voices that we don't want to hear and that we didn't hear before, and we were better for it. But that's unpopular to say that some things should be censored, that speech is free to a point. and then it's not. You know, like the mask, and the John King just came out on CNN, not that way, but of having multiple sclerosis. And he was thanking his workplace for great insurance and for making sure people around him are vaccinated, because you never know. He kept that secret. So by getting a vaccine, you didn't know that you were protecting him if you worked with him, but you were. We all keep a lot secret. I'm hoping to not deal with doctors anymore for a while, and yet I've had a weird taste of salt in my mouth for like 2 weeks. And I've read it can be GERD, it can be so many things, but it can be a brain hemorrhage. It can be a lot of stuff. So I see a doctor Friday just as a 6-month thing, and I'll tell them then. But I'm not worrying about it till then. I'm not. But we all have that thing. Because when you type in salt taste in mouth, it says it's extraordinarily common. So you guys might have had it caused by dehydration or a medication or whatever. Some of you listening may have had a salty taste in your mouth for a few days. Back in the 80s, I know I did. Anyway, so we all have things that we don't tell everybody, you know. But in regards to this story behind me and how it exemplifies how we right now pretty much honor and respect bad behavior. Donald Trump should already be in jail. We know he organized January 6th. We know this. He did it on television. You know, there's no harmony there. See, planet-based living is about getting back to some sort of harmony. We are disjointed. We are a disjointed society when instead of using their phones to call 911, they use their phones to benefit themselves by taping something. We're broken. We're fractured. We need to get back to where we would step in and say, stop. You're hurting her. Stop. Stop hurting the planet. Stop hurting each other. We can disagree on policy. We can disagree on ways to live, but stop hurting each other. Physically hurting, mentally hurting. Stop hurting each other. When you steal from a store, that's hurting. I know you just look at it as a big corporation, and God knows I've shoplifted my share in my lifetime. But when you do it as an organized group where you bring in trash bags and you empty the shelves, that's hurting. That's hurting that community. Stop hurting each other. That's what we need to learn from this story. Non-action is hurting someone. Sometimes in order to not hurt someone, you have to take action. You have to do something so you don't hurt them. We're going to have to do things so we don't hurt the planet. We're going to have to do things so we don't continue to hurt each other. Now, I'm willing to put in the work, and I know that you guys probably are too. So the first thing you do is just stop allowing bad behavior to go unchecked. If someone's doing something wrong, become a Karen, report them. You know, if someone's mouthing off, if someone walks in without a mask, people are now afraid to say put a mask on because they're getting hurt. Well, then they win. I heard a Brit say the way to more democracy is not to limit democracy. Well, the way to eradicate bad behavior is not to allow more bad behavior. Think about that, okay? And that segues beautifully right into, and I don't want to leave this graphic up this whole time because that story is just alarming, isn't it? I mean, that's just, I mean, how would you feel if you were the woman, who was raped? And you found out, as she has now, that these people were using their phones. You know, it's not like they didn't have phones. They had phones, and they were using their phones, but they were using them to tape her rape. How if you were that person, how would that make you feel? Like, oh, yeah, great. Okay, thanks. And, talking about bad behavior being condoned, and how we all have to now become people who stop allowing bad behavior in all areas of our life. You not eating a plant-based diet is bad behavior. You're hurting the planet. Another story today about how meat production is destroying our environment and how they're building these big factories to take carbon out of the air. And it's an experimental thing. Bill Gates is involved to remove carbon out of the air. And they're building these plants as sort of a last resort. And to think and in that story, it comments about how meat production See, we've got to stop hurting each other. It's pretty much that simple. And that includes hurting ourselves, beating ourselves up all the time, mentally beating ourselves up. And one of the reasons we do it is topic number 2 today. You're overwhelmed. I know I have been, and now I just found out that four of my closest friends are going through stages of waves of productivity and then paralysis, productivity, paralysis. And I said to them, when you're in the paralysis phase, is it because you have a lot to do for whatever it is? For instance, my single sideshow comes out tomorrow. Okay, I don't have ads running. I'm not promoting it. I'd like for y'all to hear it. It's going to be on Apple Music and Spotify. And to promote it would mean a promotion agency. Am I going to do a video? Because if I am, I have to do it by myself. I don't have $500 or $1,000 to give to someone to do the video, even though my birthday is 2 weeks away and I could give me a video for my birthday. I'm going to have to do it myself if I do it. Edit it, film it, all of it. And so I want that. I do want a video for it. I thought maybe going to Circus or whatever, let the sideshow begin, But it's overwhelming. The notion to plan it all, do it all, film it all, edit it all, and then release it to Vivo and YouTube and Vimeo and all of that. And so while I should have been going great guns on it, I haven't done much at all. Because it's overwhelming. And you want to start the book. I really want to do this book and workbook about plant-based eating and segue it into plant-based living. And I can write a book in 2 to 3 weeks. And then I'll do all the recipes and stuff. And I could have it done in 8 weeks. By the holidays or for January, I could have it done. So why don't I? Because it's overwhelming. I have to write it. I have to come up with 200 recipes. I have to come up with daily meal plans. I have to then do those recipes myself, have my niece do them as well. That takes money. And then photograph them all, and then lay all that out, and then have it edited. And then sell it on my own until a publisher picks it up. That's a lot. That's a lot. And so I've put it off and put it off. Not anymore. If you see my day planner, it's all scheduled. So I'm not going to name their names, but 4 of my friends have been overwhelmed, going through, a lot of good work or good progress on things, on projects, whatever, and then paralysis, and the lows being very low. They're all over 50, by the way. All of these people are over 50, and because I've been in that same the last several years, I've been in that same. I spoke to one of them and I said, look. It's a fact of life that my birthday is November 7th. It's like in 2 weeks from this Sunday, I think. Send gifts. My birthday is November 7th. I'll be 59. 59 years old. Most of my friends are 58, 59, 60 of my older friends. And then my younger friends are in their 30s. And my niece and nephew are in their 30s. So I have friends in their 30s and friends in their late 50s. Nothing in the middle because of AIDS, of course. And I said to them, I have the energy to do a show. I have the energy to go and perform out in clubs and things, like a couple times a week. I have the energy to write new material, to host the Dorians, all of that. I don't have the energy to do the 900 things that surround doing those things that I used to do no problem. When I go and do a live show, I have to book the live show. And then I have to do the promo for the live show. Often I have to create the Eventbrite thing and sell the tickets to the live show. All of that myself, no help. And that was fine 5 years ago when I was eating Oxy out of, watch Dope Sick, watch it. I mean, it was fine. But now I am handicapped. I can't sugarcoat that anyway. My back is really messed up. My heart seems not to be, but my aorta is growing. So there are things that, I can't lug, like with my aorta, I cannot lug equipment around. They told me not to, nothing over 50 pounds. And so, I need an assistant. So it gets overwhelming. So all of them agreed, yes, you're exactly right. I have the energy to still be me. I just don't have the energy to do all the other stuff that I used to still do, but it still requires it. So then I don't do any of it because it's all too exhausting to even think about. Does this sound familiar to you? I'm sure it does. So they asked me what to do, and I said, well, if I had the magic, I'd be rich by now. Because I got to raise $300,000 over the next couple of years because I need to put that away for. Anyway, so I said, look, I always have the analogy one box at a time, where when you're overwhelmed, you just start, and then and it comes from my friend Bert. He had all these toys on the wall, play sets, play sets. So I have a couple here, that like figurines and things, all unopened. And they were floor to ceiling in his whole apartment. It was a thing. I mean, it could have been on TV. And he was moving, and there were literally hundreds of them, maybe thousands. And he was by himself. His boyfriend had left him, I think. And he didn't know what he was going to do, however, and I said, well, you grab a box. We were on the phone. I said, do you have an empty box? He said, yeah. I said, put it in front of you. He said, okay. I said, okay, now fill that empty box with some of your play sets from the wall right now. Do it. So he did. I said, tape it up. He did. I said, put it aside. He did. I said, was that so terrible? He goes, well, no. And he was about to say, but. I said, I said, was that so terrible? And he said, well, no. And I go, so that's how you're going to do it. You're going to do it one box at a time. I will fill this box. I won't. It's not like I have to fill this box and that box and that box. Right now, this moment, I will fill this box. So when you're overwhelmed and you have a task to do and you're not getting to it because it's overwhelming, you're afraid of the outcome, you're afraid of repercussions or whatever. Or you're just afraid that it's so much work that you're just never going to, whatever it is, but you have to do it. It has to be dealt with. And now you're probably late with it or there are decisions that need to be made that haven't because you've been paralyzed and done nothing. Well, you don't have to do it all. Start with one box. Start with one box. So for me, mine is my day planner. I live by it. And so today I scheduled the next 6 weeks. I scheduled full weeks of writing. No, nothing but this show and writing. That's it. No, nothing else. Yes, I'm doing a sideshow video. I scheduled next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 days to shoot it and 2 days to edit it. And so, yeah. So I've scheduled things. Now, will I live up to my schedule? The beauty is that I've also scheduled the preliminary, go scout location this day. So by the time I get to whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing, I've already done some of the some of the legwork. So one box at a time. Start scheduling the stuff. Start giving yourself deadlines on things. I will decide on this by this date. Start asking for help. 2 of my friends then asked me for help, and I said, yes, let's reach out to so-and-so and such and such. And now these overwhelming things that they had, they're not so overwhelmed because they're talking to someone new. They have someone new in their life that's helping them. So ask for help. We didn't used to have to ask for help, but now you do. That's part of planet-based living, asking each other for help and each other giving it when we can. My friend today said, I love you, Chuck, but if you started spewing right-wing hatred and ridiculousness like Joe Rogan, like Russell Brand, like all these other people, you could make the money and you don't have to believe it. He's like, you don't have to believe it. They don't believe it. Alex Jones doesn't believe it. Just you could bank some good money right now. There's so many stupid people and people are making fortunes off of them. I said, well, A, religion always has. But B, yeah, the GOP has found a great donor pool. And right-wing media has found and they don't even care. Steve Bannon stole money from them to build some wall, and, no one cared, really. So I said, but the problem is I can't. I can't do anything that I don't really believe in. And if you told me I had to play that person in a movie, okay, I could do that. I could be Tucker Carlson in a movie. But, in real life, I can't. I can't. So when you're overwhelmed, start with one box at a time, one task at a time. What's the first thing I need to do, or one of the first things I need to do for this task? What's one of the first things? Whether that's talk to someone, set up appointments, buy a web domain, whatever it might be. What are one of the first things I have to do in order to accomplish this task? And then do that thing. Just that one thing. You can't be overwhelmed by just one thing. Even if it's a big thing, just do it. And then you'll have the next thing to do. But if you think about how you have to do 10,000 things, it's like a buffet. You walk up to a buffet, you can't decide what to eat. You walk up and there's just 3 choices, you can choose. Narrow your choices down. When you're overwhelmed, narrow down what it is you feel you need to do. Like today, planet-based living is taken. I can't buy that. But I could buy planet-based life. So I did. But I said, I was looking and I go, well, what else? What's another? And I said, well, earth-based. So earth-based living, earth-based eating, and earth-based eater are all 3 available. And they were $8. So I bought them. Spent $24 for those 3 domains. And that gives me the option of planet-based life, since I can't do living, or earth-based living, earth-based life, earth-based eating. And so I gave myself options today for the branding, which means I'm putting the work in to actually launch the brand, which is the book and the accompanying shows that will go with it and all of that. So one box at a time for me today was in my day planner, mapping out all the way from now until Christmas. Well, I now know what projects I want to be working on between now and then. And what I'm supposed to be doing each week, like writing this week, filming this week, editing this week. And if I just stick to that schedule, if I just do that, then these will get done. They might not be great. They might not sell. They might not be worth a darn, but they'll get done. I watched a horrible Bruce Willis movie yesterday, something death or something. Oh, it's terrible. It's on Hulu. He's in it for 12 minutes, probably for money. Obviously for money. And I was downing the movie going, that was a terrible film. But it was a film that the writer believed in, the producer and director believed in. They believed in it enough to get it funded. Then not only did they get it funded, they got Bruce Willis to be in it somehow. So they got a lot of funding so they could pay him some money. No other known actors, just him. And him old and out of shape and, making money, but God bless him. And I said that too. He still wants to be in movies and he wants to make money. These are those movies that they make with these big stars that they release internationally. And if they make, 20, 30, 40 million at the box office, well, that's great because they only dumped, 5 or 7 million into them. So if that's how, he needs to be, then fine. Good for him. Good for him. And the movie got made. And it got seen, and it's on Hulu. And so as I was about to detract it, I thought to myself, well, you know what? They got it out there. They made a movie. So don't tear them down just because you didn't like it or it really wasn't the best movie ever. At least they made it. At least they got something accomplished, right? And they did it probably one box at a time. Got the financing and then got the script and so whatever you're doing that makes you overwhelmed, I want you to do it one box at a time. We did not get to the Pandemic 20, which basically just means I'm starting to watch my calories. I want to lose about 10 or 15 pounds that the pandemic has, found a way to creep in. And so I want to lose. So I'm going to start my calorie counting. I'm going to use a calorie counter. There's many of them available online. I'm going to be eating my 1,800 calories a day now. I'm very strictly going to be inputting everything into it. And that's going to help me with the book, too, because I'm going to be trying new recipes that are lower calorie and all of that. I encourage you, if you gained some weight over the pandemic, now is a great time to start so it's gone for the beginning of the year. You can cheat on the holidays, okay? You can. And about the pig's kidney development, they did a transplant where they put a pig kidney in a human, and it worked. It's working. And I don't want to go into the ethics of that or whatever, but I do want to say this. We use pig valves for our hearts, and now we might be using their kidneys. If an animal is so close to us in organs that we can use its organs, should we really eat that animal? I want you to think about that. We use their heart valves for our heart. We use their kidneys. Should we really eat that? Isn't it like eating an organ donor? Like when someone's an organ donor and they die and they harvest their organs, they don't then serve them as bacon. We should rethink what we do to pigs. I am Carell. Be who you want to be. Song doesn't hurt anybody. We'll be back on Friday. Remember, planet-based life. That means living with each other. It means living with the environment. It means living with your neighbors. It means getting along politically. It means thriving on planet Earth. That's what it means. That's what we're going to be talking about each and every day. Today, we talked about how when you're overwhelmed, to just do it one box at a time. We talked about not eating pigs because they're giving us their kidneys. And we talked about how a woman getting raped on a train and people videotaping it instead of calling it in just shows how we're all tolerating too much bad behavior as Walgreens closes for robberies and the like, and how in our own lives we need to start stopping bad behavior, just calling people out on it. And yes, it might be even a little dangerous, but if we don't, then we're not going. You don't like the world you're in. I don't like it either. Well, there's only one way out of it, and that's to do something. So when someone is behaving badly, report them, or call them on it, or embarrass them, or whatever. But just don't let them get away with the bad behavior, because now they're just thinking there's no repercussions for anything. All right, be who you want to be. So don't hurt anybody. Don't forget, it's reallycarell.com, reallycarell.com, reallycarell on Twitter, ReallyKarel on Twitter, and, of course, on YouTube, youtube.com/reallycarell, where you will subscribe, of course, please. And then Patreon, for those of you so kind to give, is patreon.com/Carell, patreon.com. That's patreon.com/Karel, $5 a month. It can make a difference. All right, see you on Friday.